It was 11:42 p.m. on a rainy Tuesday when the suffocating silence of the 50-room estate was finally broken. Victoria Kensington, a billionaire who controlled a $40 billion empire, froze at her desk. It wasn't an intruder or a crisis call. It was a sound she hadn't heard in exactly 2 years, for months and 16 days. Her daughter's laughter. Trembling, she brought up the security feed. The screen revealed a truth so terrifying it would shatter her perfect world entirely. The Kensington estate was a masterpiece of glass and marble, but inside it was a tomb. Victoria, known as the Ice Queen of Wall Street, built this fortress after the crash that killed her husband, Jonathan, and turned their 5-year-old daughter, Lily, into a mute ghost. Lily hadn't spoken, cried, or laughed since that night. Consumed by guilt, Victoria abandoned motherhood for corporate war, leaving Lily to a rotating army of nannies. Then came Thomas Bennet, the new groundskeeper. A quiet single father with burn scars hidden under long-sleeved flannels, he lived in the gatehouse with his son Leo. Victoria never noticed him. Until the storm. That Tuesday night, thunder hammered the estate. Victoria was finalizing a hostile takeover when a giggle cut through the audio feed. She pulled up camera 14, the East Conservatory. On the screen, Thomas sat cross-legged with Leo. Across from them was Lily. He wasn't hurting her. He was making shadow puppets. First a bird, then a tree. Then his fingers twisted into a complex shape. A dancing fox chasing a moon. Victoria gasped. That was Jonathan's secret story, a private ritual between father and daughter. No one else knew those gestures. On the screen, the fox tumbled. Leo giggled. And Lily threw her head back and laughed. A bright, bell-like sound. Victoria broke down sobbing. Her daughter was still in there. But immediately, suspicion flooded in. Asterisk, how does a groundskeeper know my dead husband's secret? She didn't call security. She hit record. At dawn, Victoria summoned Winston, her head of security. Full teardown on Thomas Bennet. 2 hours. When Winston returned, his face was pale. His real name is Dr. Thomas Holden. He was a top pediatric trauma surgeon. He lost his license exactly 2 years, 4 months, and 16 days ago. The night of your crash. Then Winston revealed the nightmare. Thomas wasn't a witness. He ran into the burning wreckage. He shattered the back window with his bare hands, suffering third-degree burns up both arms. He pulled Lily from the flames. While stabilizing her on the roadside, he used the shadow puppets, which he'd seen Jonathan do seconds before impact, to keep her conscious. But while Thomas was saving Lily, a drunk driver smashed into his parked car. His pregnant wife, Sarah, was killed instantly. Victoria couldn't breathe. Why didn't I know this? Winston's voice hardened. Because Kensington Logistics owned the truck that caused the crash. Our lawyers covered it up. They pressured the medical board and destroyed Thomas to protect the stock price. He lost everything, his wife, his baby, his career, saving your daughter. Victoria stared at the live feed. Thomas was in the garden, laughing as Leo sprayed him with a hose. This man had sacrificed his entire life for her family. Her empire had rewarded him by grinding him into dust. He's here for revenge, Winston said. No, Victoria whispered. The Ice Queen is dead. I'm going to tear down my own company. She found Thomas in the garden at dawn. Fog curled around them. When she said his real name, he froze like a man facing a firing squad. I know everything, Victoria said, her voice breaking. The fire. Your wife. The cover-up. My company destroyed your life, and I didn't even know your name. Thomas fell to his knees in the mud, screaming. He hurled a wooden stake into the fog as 2 years of suppressed agony clawed out of him. Victoria let him grieve. When he finally looked up, his eyes were hollow. Why are you telling me this? Because hiding behind walls destroyed us both, Victoria said. She held out a set of brass keys. Move into the main house. Watch over Lily. I'm going to Manhattan to burn my company to the ground. The next morning, Victoria locked the boardroom doors. The FBI was in the lobby. 2 years ago, she announced to her executives, our subsidiary killed my husband. A surgeon named Thomas Holden walked into fire to save my daughter. And this board covered it up. Harrison, the general counsel, stood up. Victoria, you're distressed. Sit down. Winston blocked the door. Victoria clicked a remote. Emails, medical records, and crash photos filled the screen. 30 minutes ago, I sent everything to the Department of Justice, the SEC, and the New York Times. You are not leaving this room except in handcuffs. Chaos erupted. Harrison lunged for his phone. The FBI is in the lobby, Victoria said calmly. Welcome to your reckoning. 6 months later, the estate was unrecognizable. Sunlight flooded the halls. The lawns were littered with toys and muddy footprints. Victoria sat on a bench in the conservatory, wearing a simple sweater. She had stepped down as CEO, liquidated her shares, and created a trauma foundation. Its medical director was Dr. Thomas Holden, whose license had been fully reinstated. Got you, Leo screamed, sprinting past. Leo, give it back. Lily chased him, laughing, her voice raspy but alive. Thomas walked in with juice boxes, his burn scars visible. He didn't hide them anymore. He sat beside Victoria, and they watched their children play. Nuhushid Homansi. Just two survivors who had pulled each other from the wreckage. She still asks for the fox when it rains, Victoria said. Thomas chuckled. I invented a dancing hippopotamus. It looked like a potato. Lily ran over and grabbed his scarred hand. Thomas, do the fox again. Thomas looked at Victoria. She nodded, tears shining in her eyes. He raised his hands. Thumbs and pinkies slid into place. The shadow fox leaped toward an invisible moon. The ice had melted. The ghost was gone. The fortress was finally a home.